is preparing. Okay, we are live.
بسم الله جبس.
بسم الله
Yes.
الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
بسم الله جبس.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إني أسألك وتوجه إليك بنبيك نبي الرحمة. اللهم صل على محمد صلى الله عليه وآله. يا أبا القاسم يا رسول الله، يا إمام الرحمة، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا. يا وجيها عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله. يا أبا الحسن يا أمير المؤمنين، يا علي بن أبي طالب، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا. يا وجيا عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله. يا فاطمة الزهراء، يا بنت محمد، يا قرة عين الرسول، يا سيدتنا ومولاتنا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا. يا وجيهة عند الله، اشفعي لنا عند الله. يا أبا محمد يا حسن بن علي، أيها المجتبى يا ابن رسول الله، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا. يا وجيهنا عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله. يا أبا عبد الله يا حسين بن علي، أيها الشهيد يا ابن رسول الله، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا. يا وجيهنا عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله. يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن الحسين، يا زين العابدين، يا ابن رسول الله، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيهنا عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله. يا أبا جعفر يا محمد بن علي أيها الباقر يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله. يا أبا عبد الله يا جعفر بن محمد أيها الصادق يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله. يا أبا الحسن يا موسى بن جعفر أيها القاضم يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله. يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن موسى أيها الرضا يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله. يا أبا جعفر يا محمد بن علي أيها التقي الجواد يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله. يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن محمد أيها الهادي النقي يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله. يا أبا محمد يا حسن بن علي أيها الزكي العسكري يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله. يا وصي الحسن والخلف الحجة أيها القائم المنتظر المهدي يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيا عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله. سلوا حوائجكم الله سبحانه. يا سادتي وموالي إني توجهت بكم أئمتي وعدتي ليوم فقري وحاجتي إلى الله وتوسلت بكم إلى الله واستشفعت بكم من الله فاشفعوا لي عند الله واستنقذوني من ذنوبي عند الله فإنكم وسيلتي إلى الله وبحبكم وبقربكم أرجو نجاة من الله فكونوا عند الله رجائي يا سادتي يا أولياء الله صلى الله عليهم أجمعين ولعن الله أعداء الله ظالمين من الأولين والآخرين آمين رب العالمين. الشفاء المرضى وقضاء الحوائج for recital المجيب 5 times. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء 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 يا الله يا الله يا الله يا الله يا الله يا الله ولأمواتنا جميعا ومن مات على الإيمان رحم الله من قرأ الفاتحة مع الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. I would request with loud salawat Dr. Farid to deliver his lecture. For Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته جميعا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين أبو القاسم مصطفى محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. Inshallah, tonight we will start a very long discussion. It will be a few weeks before we can wrap it up. And maybe we get a chance to do tafsir of Surah Al-Dahr or Surah Al-Insan because it is connected to our series of discussions about our nafs, our ruh, where we have come from and where we are going. And the Surah Al-Insan has a lot of significance for all of us, the followers of Ahlul Bayt. And it plays a quintessential role in our belief in Ahlul Bayt, and inshallah we'll get into it in detail. Of course, this surah has two names, Dahr or Insan, and that is because the subject of the surah is insan. And it also talks about Mashiyatullah. Mashiyatullah, a poor translation for it is the will of God, and how Mashiyatullah is executed in this universe, how Allah makes His will to become materialized. And that is also explained in this surah. And also that insan always has a choice, but only in dunya. For where he come from and where he's going, he has no absolute choice. His existence, coming to existence, he has no choice. So all of that has been already made by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The only time he has a choice, or she has a choice, is in this dunya. And in this dunya, this insan is always presented with two pathways. Either the pathway of justice and haqq or batil, amma shakura, amma kafura. Either for the path that he can express his shukr or he can prove his kufr. So that is the subject of this surah. And this surah has a lot of miraculous concepts in it that inshallah when we have time as we go in several weeks, we will talk about the significance of these points. At the beginning of the surah, we have 8 times Allah incorporates the subject of the verses as we. We created insan. Inna khalaqna al-insan nabtalihu, and then we tested him. Faja'alnahu, and then we appointed him. Inna hadaynahu, we guided him. Inna atadnahu, it's always we. So 8 times at the beginning we did this, we did that to insan, and 8 times at the end of the surah, which is the same way. Inna nahnu nazalna, inna nahnu khalaqnahum, shaddadna asarahum, iza shi'na badalna amsalahum tabdila. So another 8 times Allah incorporates we did this, we did that. So you have 8 at the beginning and 8 at the end. It's like the rest of the surah verses are sandwiches between these two 8 words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala incorporating us. We did this. So if you add 8 and 8, it becomes 16. So why 16? Because Allah is giving credit to the essential characters that played a significant role in creating this universe and creating insan and creating what has come and will come for insan. So those 16 are 14 infallible, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Jibreel. So Allah is giving a very clear message here for those people who have eye to see it, that the affairs of this universe is executed by Allah 14, and Jibreel is the mediator between them. So you have this 16 characters that Allah has chose to divide into 8 and 8 at the beginning of the surah, at the end of the surah. From ayah number 2 to 4, you have 8, and then from ayah 23 to 28, you have another set of 8 verbs that are conjugated with the subject as we did this, we did that. Keep that in mind, inshallah. We'll come back to it very soon. So Allah in Surah Al-A'raf opens up an amazing universe that no other religion, no other school of thought, no other, if it were not in Quran, nobody would have known about this. Nobody would have come to understand this. And it is very significant for a mu'min to believe in this ayah. In Surah Al-A'raf, Allah says, وَإِذْ أَخَذَ رَبُّكَ مِنْ بَنِي آدَمَ مِنْ زُهْرِهِمْ ذُرِّيَّتُهُمْ وَأَشْهَدُهُمْ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ. Allah is saying that when when Rabb, our Rabb, took the oath of allegiance from all Bani Adam, all those insans that are coming from the back of Adam, the beginning to the end, ذُرِّيَّتُهُمْ, all of them. We took an oath of allegiance from them, and we hold their anfus as a witness to this testimony. Remember, we've been talking about nafs and how nafs plays in our existence. So one of the things that this nafs still remembers, you and I, we don't remember yet, but our nafs remembers, because Allah in this surah said, in this ayah says, وَأَشْهَدَهُمْ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ. Their own, we took their own nafs as their witness. The witness of this testimonial that Allah took from us is our own nafs. And what does it say? Allah asked us a question, Alastu birabbikum? And without exception, everybody said, yes, indeed you are. قالوا بلى. All of them said yes. شهدنا أن تقولوا يوم القيامة إنا كنا إن هذا غافلين. And then, so they cannot say in the day of judgment that we forgot about this. We were not made aware of this, that we have already accepted you as our Lord. So every insan has taken this oath of allegiance. That's why we refer to this alam, the alam that we had this conversation and this testimonial was taken from us. The name of that alam, we call it alam al-dhur, because of the word وَذُرِّيَّتُهُمْ, from their own, from Bani Adam's children, from all Bani Adam's children in this ayah. In that alam, in that existence form, Allah took this oath of allegiance from all of us, and we said yes, and that was the condition for us to be born in this universe as a dunya, as who you are, whatever your name is now. And Fatima al-Zahra alayha salam, she beautifully recaptures these concepts in her khutbah. Inshallah, one other blessing that we have in the next few weeks, we get close to the days of Fatimi, Ayyam Fatimi. Her shahada and her birthday are right around the corner. They're coming. So, inshallah, we are going to build up toward those ayyam by incorporating her speech and her khutbah in our lectures. She starts with saying, Alhamdulillahi ala ma an'amah wa lahu shukru ala ma alhamah. And then she refers to this ayah I just recited for you. Ibtada'a al-shay'a la min shay'in. Allah created. Ibtada'a means creation. Creation started everything before anything was existing. La min shay'in kana min qabluha. Before anything was created before that. Wa ashhadu anna abi Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Subhan. I cannot tell you no matter how much I try, I will fail to express the importance of this one line that she says, wa ashhadu anna abi Muhammad abduhu wa rasuluh. Why? Because she is the only one who could have said that. No other being can say that. I testify that my father, Muhammad, is abduhu, is abd of Allah, and rasuluhu, and the messenger of God. You and I, we always testify in our salat, ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. All the ulama have said, this shahada, you have to look at the order. You say Muhammad, his name first, and then you say abduhu, and then you say rasuluhu. That tells you the sequences of the order of Muhammad's creation. Muhammad in this dunya came as a Muhammad, and then Allah told us that he is his special abd, and then he is the messenger. So abd is way higher and way sooner, earlier than being Rasul. Rasul is after, but abd is first. And then, this is the mind-boggling phrase of Zahra. She puts the same order, but his title as Fatima's father precedes everything else. Before even Muhammad, before even Abd, before even Rasul. She says that Ashhadu, I testify that he was my father, Muhammad, Abduhu wa Rasuluhu. Inshallah, as we get to the Ayyam Fatimiyya, I will open this up and have the significance of this one phrase. اختاره وانتجبه قبل أن أرسله. Whoever until this moment had a doubt that Rasulullah was created long time before, then he was the son of Abdullah born in Mecca. اختاره, he chose him. And tajabahu, and he selected him before he was sent as a Rasul. وَسَمَّاهُ, and he named him Muhammad before he was able to say hamd. وَاسْتَفَاهُ, and he purified and selected him قَبْلَ أَنْ أَبْعَثَهُ, before he became Rasul. And then it turns toward us. Fatima put that alam al-dhur in perspective for us. What does she say? This happened to Rasulullah. Rasulullah went through all these stages before the khalaiq were even created. Fatima al-Zahra says, all these happened إِذْ خَلَائِقُ بِالْغَيْبِ مَكْنُونَ, when all the creation, khalaiq doesn't mean just human being. Khalaiq is everything that's been created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The entire creations, everything that you can say this is makhluk of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fatima is saying all of this were in ghaib. And بِالنَّهَايَةِ الْعَدَمِ مَغْرُونَ, they were at the edge of non-existence. Adam means non-existence. So at that time, this oath was taken. At the time that everything that Allah is planning to create are in absolute ghaib, ghaib al-maknoon, absolute ghaib. At that time, this ayah of Surah Al-A'raf is taking place. Now, then you come to Surah Al-Insan. So this is before we became Insan. Allah doesn't name a label for us in that existence. All Allah says that you were there because one day you would be born from Adam into this dunya. So that's why the only address we have from Quran and Allah about that alam is the alam of dhurriyat Adam. So we call it alam al-dhur. At that time, we all said we accept you are our Rabb. And remember, even then, Allah was invisible for us. Allah will always remain invisible for us. Allah will always remain in alam al-ghayb. So when Allah says, Alastu birabbikum, am I not your Rabb? And we all said yes. Well, how did we know? The only way we knew is because we knew Allah through the 14 infallibles. Not only us, Malaika and Anbiya, they knew Allah because of those anwar, those noors of Ahlul Bayt. When Allah said, "Nafakhtu min ruhi" in Adam, when Adam body was made from earth and ruh came from Allah, the combination gave birth to Adam. The ruh, the first thing made Adam aware of the ruh was his eyes. His eyes opened up, and the first thing he observed was the nur of Ahlul Bayt. In his heart, he thought that these nurs are the God who just created him. This thought went through his heart. He did not express it. But Rasulullah says, as soon as this thought crossed Adam's heart at that moment of creation, we said tasbih. We said tasbih of Allah. We means Ahlul Bayt. We said Subhanallah to teach Adam that we are not Allah. So at that time, Adam came to become aware of Ahlul Bayt. So now, this surah is called Surah Al-Insan for one reason. The reason is that everything I just told you, we witness, and Quran testifies that we witness, nashhadu anfusahum, we kept them, we kept their own nufus, their own nafs as their witness. Everything I just told you about Alam al-Dhur and all that testimony, we have forgotten. We don't remember. We don't remember we existed at that time. The reason insan is called insan is because the lack of memory from that oath of allegiance. Insan is that creation that has forgotten. Nisyan in Arabic means forgetting, forget. When you forget something, we say nsit, I forgot. So the same word has been our label because we have forgotten that oath of allegiance. But fear not, Allah says, I have equipped you with two imams, one imam inside you and one imam outside you. The imam inside you is your fitrah and your aql that draws you to me, guides you to me. And the second imam, the external imam, is A'immatul Huda, these 14 infallibles who take our hands and guide us to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's why we are insan. And Allah starts by saying that this insan that's so arrogant and so egoistic, doesn't he remember هل أتى على الإنسان حين من دهر لم يكن شيئا مذكورا? Doesn't insan realize that there was a time that this grandiose insan that thinks he is on top of the world and everything is under his thumb was not even something to be noticed. Shay'an. It was less than something to be noticed. That insan had become so arrogant. And then, إِنَّا خَلَقْنَا إِنسَانٍ مِّن نُطْفَةٍ أَمْشَاجٍ نَبْتَلِيهُ فَجَعَلْنَاهُ سَمِيعًا بَصِيرًا. This is the gift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah has given us the ability to hear and to see that Allah has created us. Now, before we go any further, I have to share with you the context behind Surah Al-Insan. And if we are lucky, that would be the main discussion for tonight. And then, as I said, we're going to be with these 31 ayahs for a long time to understand them. The context for which this surah, the entire surah, not one ayah, this is one surah that came in its entirely at one time, was that Hassanain, they were under weather. And Rasulullah, and I'm going to explain all of this in detail very soon. Rasulullah asked Amir al-Mu'mineen, why don't you make another that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make Hasanain be inshallah healthy, come out of their being under the weather, then you will fast. You will fast. And Amir al-Mu'mineen, of course, when Rasulullah says something, he agreed. As soon as Ali agreed, Fatima al-Zahra agreed that she will also join Ali in the fast. As soon as Fatima al-Zahra agreed, Hasanain agreed, they also start joining in the fast. And then as soon as they agreed, their servant, that knowledgeable, wise lady, Fidda, she agreed. And this has just the fact that I just told you this, Hasanain agreed, it proves that the context of which that was another for Hasanain to regain their health is just for us to understand, but it doesn't mean that Hasanain were ill. I will get back to it in detail very soon. You already know who Hasanain are, you already know who Fatima al-Zahra, you already know Amir al-Mu'mineen. So tonight, give me a permission to focus on who Fidda is. Subhanallah. This Ahl al-Bayt are so kareem that they can give regular people such a power that not only Fidda, her granddaughter, the daughter of Fidda, when she was going to Hajj and she got lost and she got tired and she was thirsty and she asked for water. That is not my main topic tonight. She raised her hand and she said, Ya Allah, this is the hand of the daughter of the servant of Fatima al-Zahra. Long rawaya. But making it short, a man appeared, brought her water, and took her on the back of a camel to Mecca. Now, Fidda is this person's grandmother. But who's Fidda? Let's take a journey together in the life of this great lady. Let me put it in a perspective. If you have Salman on the other side, outside the house of Fatima, you have Fidda inside the house of Fatima. If Salman got all those benefits and all those knowledge for being outside the house of Fatima, and he reached to the level that Rasulullah says, Salman minna Ahl al-Bayt, Fidda reach and arguably more knowledge than Salman inside the house of Fatima. Even as of to date, people cannot decide which one is more afdal, Salman or Fidda. I'm giving you this pretext so you understand, because we've been talking about Salman more often than Fidda. So we do not know who Fidda is. I'm just telling you who she is equal to, at least, if not more, is Salman. So in India, South India, collectively called together as Chennai, in the very south tip of the India, the very south, there is an area called Numbi. And at that time, this area was under a king. And that king was always under attack by his surrounding other kingships, because his land had direct access to the ocean. This is the tip of the south point of India. And he did not have a son. He had only one baby daughter. The fearful king, for life of his daughter, he arranged for her to go outside India and live until the time for her to come back and take the power arrives. I don't want to go in that part of the story too long. Her name was Maharani, which means the prince or the queen, Chandi of Numbi. That was her Indian name. And Chandi in Hindi means silver. And in Arabic, silver is fidda. So I'm just giving you the background. I want you to walk with me in this journey. The journey took long turns and long time until she arrived in a Christian land of, at that time, Habasha, Ethiopia. She took the ship from India. And of course, she had a lot of people with her. She was a little baby at that time. And then her entourage brought a lot of jewelry and gold. And there was a lady that protected her who was a very famous chemist of the time. And she taught chemistry to Chandi, to Fidda. And Fidda learned chemistry or ilm al-kimia at age of 9 and 10. So anyway, they came to Ethiopia. And she, until the 9, 10 years old, 11 years old, she gained the trust of the king of Ethiopia. The same king that the brother of Amir al-Mu'minin, Jafar, took the refugee of Muslims to him. When Chandi or Fidda heard the message of Islam delivered from the lips of Ja'far Tayyar, the brother of Haydar Karrar, she fell in love with Islam and Ahl al-Bayt. And when the king of Ethiopia asked the Muslims that after a few years, you are free to go back if you want to, and Rasulullah sent a letter to Ja'far to come back, she asked the king to let her go with Ja'far. And she told the king, I have become of this person's religion. And the king was a very kind man. And the king loved this little child. And he asked her, is this what you want? She said, this is what I was born for. But you are the queen of that part of India. She said, I am going to become a different kind of queen. I am going to serve the queen of Kainat. She came and she ended up with Zahra, subhanallah. And she grew up in Zahra's house. And nobody called her Chandi anymore. Everybody started calling her Fidda. And Fidda raised to the occasion that was presented to her. Now, she continued to exercise her knowledge of chemistry. One time, she took something, a metal from copper, and she turned it into gold by her knowledge. And she showed it to Amir al-Mu'minin. Ya Ali, look what I did. Ali said, yes, I know you did this, and this. So, how you know about this knowledge? Amir al-Mu'minin smiled and looked at Hassanain, who were kids at that time, said, These kids, they know that. And Fidda said, I have come to the right place, because they thought that this knowledge is unique. Nobody had, she learned it from a person who learned it from generations, and it was not a common knowledge. Now Fidda grew up in this house, but as she's growing up, she's learning from Zahra. And one time, I told you a few nights ago, that Qambar, the servant of Amir al-Mu'mineen, came and asked for Zulfaqar, and she gave it to him before he even asked for it. She opened the door with the Zulfaqar, and he asked, how do you know that what I wanted? And she responded that you serve Amir al-Mu'mineen, I serve Fatima al-Zahra. That was her answer. That's how I know. But then another day, Qambar was looking for Amir al-Mu'mineen, and he could not see Amir al-Mu'mineen where he is. So he came to the house and asked Fidda, أين أمير المؤمنين? Where is Amir al-Mu'mineen? في معارج, في بروج. Fidda said, he is in the Alam al-Malakut, in Buruj, the towers of heavens. Qambar thought that she doesn't want to tell him where he is. He got very upset, and he walked toward the land that Amir al-Mu'mineen farms, came to the farms, and he saw Amir al-Mu'mineen farming. And Qambar started, Ya Ali, you better teach your servant at home not to deceive us with information. Ali said, how so? Qambar said, I asked Fidda, where is Ali? And she said, you are in heaven, you are in Buruj, you are in places that we cannot even imagine. Amir al-Mu'mineen smiled and said, do you have any doubt, Qambar? He said, what do you mean, Ya Ali? Amir al-Mu'mineen said, look between my fingers. And Amir al-Mu'mineen removed the hijab from the eyes of Qambar. And Qambar saw the alam that Ali is the Amir of them. And he realized who he is serving. Then he realized how much Fidda is ahead of him, how much she knows, and that he needs to learn. This is Qambar. And one day, Salman came to Fidda, and they were always, the two of them, they used to do mufakhara, meaning that mufakhara was a kind of a nice way to exercise poetry and to exercise your knowledge. And even Imams, they did that together. Amir al-Mu'mineen did it with Abu Fazl Abbas, with Imam al-Hussein. So it's like, and Fatima al-Zahra did with Amir al-Mu'mineen. It's just like, I am proud of this and this. What are you proud of? And the other person will say, if you're proud of those things, I am also proud of these things. So it's a way so history can record the fada'il of those people, mufakhara. So Salman and Fidda, they were doing mufakhara. Long story short, it came to this part that Salman said that Amir al-Mu'mineen has informed me that the Jannah, the heaven, awaits me more eagerly than I await for Jannah. And then Fidda said, I want to tell you something, Ya Salman. I will be in Jannah before you. Salman accepted that, smiled, accepted. And then he said, you will be there before me? In the day of judgment, you will enter Jannah before me? You know who I am, Salman Muhammadi, Minna Ahl al-Bayt. That's the badge of honor. So he was also giving another mufakhara with her. She said, Salman, don't tell anybody. Don't get angry. Don't get upset. I will go to Jannah before Hasanain. Salman lost it. Salman lost it. Salman got shocked, run to Amir al-Mu'minin. Ya Ali, look at what Fidda is saying. She says that she will go on the day of judgment to Jannah before me. I accepted that. It's okay. As long as I am standing next to you, who cares for Jannah, Ya Ali? But then she says that she will go to Jannah before Sayyida Shabab Ahl al-Jannah, before the two princes of Jannah. How can that be, Ya Ali? Amir al-Mu'minin said, this is good. Let's go talk to her. They come. Fidda, have you said such a thing to Salman? Yes, na'am. Yeah, Amir al-Mu'minin. قلت كذلك. I said the same thing, this thing. And Fidda, do you realize that you told Salman that you will be entering Jannah before Hassanain, Sayyid al-Shabab, Ahl al-Jannah? Na'am. قلت ذلك. I said that. And Ya Ali, let Salman know that I will enter Jannah before even you, before Amir al-Mu'minin. Salman really got frustrated. Said, what is she talking, Ya Ali? He said, ask her. Then Fidda said, I heard from Rasulullah talking about the day of judgment. On the day of Mahshar Kubra, the day of the resurrections, an announcer will announce the entrance of Fatima al-Zahra. She will be riding on a mokab of Noor, and the harness of that mokab is in the hand of Jibreel, and they will come, and the stage of Mahshar, Fatima al-Zahra will have a conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and talks about the masa'ib of Hassanain and ask Allah to show the masa'ib that Hassan and Hussein have endured to all Ahl al-Mahshar. And after that, when it is time for her to enter Jannah, she will say, I will not enter until those people who cried and loved my children will also join me. At that point, when she comes to the gates of Jannah to opens up, Jibreel stands back, and the harness of that mokab and Noor will trade off from the hand of Jibreel in my hand. And Fatima al-Zahra has given me that badge of honor to be the one who leads this mokab that carries Fatima al-Zahra to Jannah. So I will be the first one who will step her feet inside Jannah, Ya Salman. That all three of them start crying because remembering the Masa'ib had already made Amir al-Mu'minin, made Salman and all of them to think about what Masa'ib awaits for Hassanain. So that's why they decided to cry. And that's how Fidda proved to Salman that she will be the one who enters Jannah before Salman and before them. Fidda, after the Shahada of Fatima al-Zahra, after the Shahada of Amir al-Mu'minin, she started having her own family. And one time she was going to Hajj. Look at the ilm and kamal of Fidda. She took an oath of allegiance when she left the house of Zahra, when she left the house of Ahl al-Bayt after the Shahada, that she will continue serving Zainab. She will continue serving Zainab no matter where Zainab is. But she made a promise that because her ears and her mouth has always been exposed to Ahl al-Bayt and the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, she will never speak regular words to anyone. And she would always, in her regular speech, will use verses from Quran. Salman agreed with Fidda that she is more and higher than him. And Salman justifies his reasoning, saying that I serve Rasulullah, I serve Ali, and I serve Hassanain. But Salman serves all of them, and in addition to them, she is the only one who serves Fatima al-Zahra. That's why she is higher than me. Look at the taqwa of Salman. So Fidda take an oath of allegiance that now that Zahra is no longer in dunya, now that Amir al-Mu'mineen has become shaheed, now that I'm starting my own family, I will still commit my life to serving Zainab, but I also will not use any language except the language that they taught me. She wanted to keep this tahara on her tongue. So when she got lost on the trip to Hajj, and a person noticed an old lady is looking like she's lost, he approached her and he told her, "Who are you?" without saying salam to her. And Fidda said, وَقُلْ سَلَامُ فَسَوْفَ يَعْلَمُونَ. This is an ayah from Surah Al-Zukhruf. So he understood that he made a mistake. He approached a lady without saying salam. That teaches us a lot. Everybody remember to say salam. And then Abdullah, this person, says, when I heard this, I asked, what are you doing here? And she says, وَمَنْ يَهْدِيَ اللَّهُ فَمَا لَهُ مِنْ مُضِلٍ. The person who has been guided by Allah will never be lost. So Abdullah interpret this ayah, which is from, again, Surah Al-Zumar, that she's been lost. And because she's talking verses of Quran, Abdullah start doubting who she is. And he asked her, are you insan or are you jinn? And Fidda said, Ya bani Adam, khudhu zinatukum. So he interpret this ayah, which is from Surah Al-Araf, that she's telling Abdullah, I am a human being. So she's talking, she's seeking help, but she's doing it with the verses of Quran. Abdullah asks, where are you coming from? Yunaduna min makanin ba'id. Another ayah from Quran, Surah Fussilat, that he interpret as she's telling him that she's coming from a very far place. And he said, where are you going to? وَلِلَّهَ لَلنَّاسِ حَجُّ بَيْتٍ. Then she used this ayah from Surah Al-Imran that is about Hajj, that people have to go to Hajj. So Abdullah interpreted that she means that she is coming from a very far place, but she's on her way to Mecca. And then Abdullah asked, when did you separate it from your caravan? And she answered, وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ فِي سِتَّةِ أَيَّامٍ. That's ayat from Surah Al-Qaf, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created samawat and arz in 6 days. So Abdullah interpreted that Fidda is giving him a message that she was separated from her caravan about 6 days. Then Abdullah said, are you hungry? Do you want food? And the lady Fidda says, وَمَا جَعَلْنَاهُمْ جَسَدًا لَا يَأْكُلُونَ الطَّعَامِ. We have created your body that needs food. Another ayah from Quran, Surah Al-Anbiya. So Abdullah interpret that as, yes, she needs some food. And then after he fed her and gave her water, he noticed that she's walking slow. So Abdullah asked her, can you hurry up, speed up? And the lady Fidda says, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah will not expect somebody to do more than what she capable of. Surah Baqarah. So he interpreted that this is her maximum speed. So then he said to her, why don't you ride behind me on this camel so that we can go faster? Then Fidda says, لو كان فيهما آلهة إلا الله لفسدنا. If this ayah is about if in the earth and moon, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put these two together, they may, because the two of them are together, they may create fasad. And he interpreted that she's resisting to ride behind him because they are not mahram to each other. So Abdullah came down from riding the camel and asked her to ride on the camel by herself. And then she said, Subhanallah alladhi sakhar lana hada. This is another ayah of Surah Al-Zukhruf. They saying that Subhan is to Allah. Allah is great that made us to be over this. She was pointing to the camel, that Allah made it possible for her to be riding on the camel. And then they caught up with the caravan that she was separated from. So Abdullah said, do you have anybody in this caravan who knows you? And then anybody who's related to you? And then Fidda said this ayah from Surah As-Sad, Ya Dawood, inna ja'alnaki khalifatan fil arz. So he got the name Dawood, that probably there's a person named Dawood in the caravan who knows Fidda. So he said, do you have anybody else? He said, Wama Muhammadan illa Rasul. And then he figured that there is another person named Muhammad in the caravan who knows. And then she said, Ya Yahya khuz kitabullah biquwwati. Yahya, he figured, is another person in the caravan, so that knows Fidda. And then Fidda said, Ya Musa, inni ana Allah. And then from this short ayah in Surah Al-Qasas, Abdullah figured out that Fidda is telling that there is another person named Musa in this caravan who is related to her. So there was a Dawood, there was a Muhammad, there was a Yahya, and there was a Musa. Instead of just giving their names, she gave those names that are mentioned in verses of Quran. You have to imagine how much control somebody has, how much knowledge someone has from verses of Quran to use it at will in the way that it serves the purpose of that conversation is taking. It's amazing how knowledgeable she is. And then Abdullah asked these people that you mentioned, how they are related to you. And Fidda said, Al-mal wal-bunun zinatul hayat ad-dunya. Then he figured that these are her bunun, her sons, that are related to her by birth. And then they came, and when Fidda came to her sons, she see that one shows that even to her sons, she speaks only verses of Quran. She addressed her sons, Ya abat ista'jiruhu inna khayra man istaja'rat al-quba al-amin. So qawi al-amin. So Allah in this in Surah Al-Qasas is talking about when you hire someone to help you, pay him according to what they did. So that the sons, they understood that their mother Fidda wants them to pay Abdullah for the service that he did to Fidda. Look, she's talking to her own sons with Quranic language. And then after they did that, after they paid him, Fidda said, Wallahu yudha'ifu liman yasha. Allah will add on to whatever he wants. So they got the message, again, the sons, they got the message that she wants them to pay him more than what they already had paid her. So this is Fidda, Ahl Noba. So in Arabic, we call her Fidda from Noba. But I told you the long story of Fidda, who Fidda is. This Fidda decides to fast with Hassanain, with Zahra, and with Amir al-Mu'mineen. And this is the beginning, the context behind Surah Al-Insan. And inshallah, the following weeks, we will dive in. But tonight, I just wanted to give you a little bit of background, because I know we know Fidda by name, but I also know we don't know much about Fidda. So I shared this few minutes about her life so you can begin to appreciate who are the players in Surah Al-Insan and why Allah gives this blessing, this rahmah, this barakah to this lady that includes her in these verses of Quran. So if we understand, as I always say, if we understand the servant, then you may understand the master. If we understand Salman, we may understand Amir al-Mu'mineen. If we understand Fidda, we may understand Fatima al-Zahra. And as we go along, inshallah, we'll incorporate the speech of Zahra with Surah Al-Insan to put together how Insan was created and how it came to this dunya and where this Insan is going to end up, and in between this coming and going, where he belongs to. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give all of us the blessing to live, die, and resurrect with the hope of Zahra and her children. And may Allah bless all of you. And remember, Fidda stood with her promise. She did not speak any other language, even during Karbala, when she was part of the ladies that they were with Zainab. She was there. She saw everything. She witnessed everything. She was with Zainab after Karbala. That's why her grave, Fidda's grave, is in Syria, where Zainab's grave is. In Bab al-Saghir, inshallah, Allah will grant you an opportunity to go visit the shrine of Fidda in Bab al-Saghir in Sham. She was with her every trip she made, and Zainab would go to Sham frequently. For what reason? To visit Sakina's grave. Because when they left from Sham, Zainab stopped at the gate of Sham, turned around and looked at the graveside of Sakina, and she said, Ya Ammati, oh, I will come back, Ya Sakina. I will never leave you alone. And she kept her promise. She came frequently, and eventually she became her permanent neighbor. Zainab became permanent neighbor of Sakina. And Fidda, the servant of Fatima al-Zahra, the servants of Sakina, the servants of Layla, the servant of Rabab, the servant of Kulthum, and yes, the servant of Zainab. She kept her promise, and she died in the area right next to Zainab. May Allah bless all of you, and inshallah we'll continue our explanation of Surah Al-Insan in the next coming weeks. And as I told you, we are getting ready to go to Ayyam Fatimiyya, and we might have a birthday of Imam Askari. That's the only break we'll take, but the rest of that, inshallah, will come back to discussion. Again, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless you with ma'rifah and knowledge about Ahlul Bayt. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to provide support for all those people who need the support. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us come out of this pandemic with love and knowledge for Ahlul Bayt, and with the health, if we deserve it, to use that health in the path of Ahlul Bayt. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Tawajjuh al-ziyarah.
Jazakallah Maulana.
السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا نبي الله، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين يا حاكم يوم الدين، السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدتي نساء العالمين، السلام عليك يا مولاي أبا محمد يا حسن المجتبى، السلام عليك يا مولاي أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك، عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين، خصوصا سيدي ومولاي أبو الفضل العباس بن أمير المؤمنين وسيدة زينب وأم كلثوم وسكينة. السلام عليك يا مولاي علي بن الحسين زين العابدين. السلام عليك يا مولاي محمد بن علي الباقر. السلام عليك يا مولاي جعفر بن محمد الصادق. السلام عليك يا مولاي باب الحوائج يا موسى بن جعفر الكاظم. السلام عليك يا مولاي غريب الغرباء يا علي بن موسى الرضا وأختك فاطمة مأسومة. السلام عليك يا مولاي محمد بن علي التقي الجواد. السلام عليك يا مولاي علي بن محمد الحادي النقي. السلام عليك يا مولاي حسن بن علي الزكي العسكري. السلام عليك يا سيدنا يا مولانا يا صاحب العصر والزمان. سيدي الأمان 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 من فتنة الزمان وشر الشيطان. عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وزهورك.
بسم الله
الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم قل لوليك الحجة من الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك تهوى وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Jazakallah. Brothers and sisters, please recite this ayah Kareemah 5 times for all the mu'mineen around the world who are in need of our du'as, for all the mu'mineen who are sick, especially for Razi uncle, and also for the Zahur of Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. عما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء. 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 برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. رحم الله من قرأ سورة المباركة الفاتحة مع الصلوات على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Please recite Surah Al-Fatiha for all of you marhumin, especially for the marhumin on the Jafaria Memorial Board. Al-Fatiha.
Bismillah. تقبل الله جميعا.
Thank you so much. Inshallah, we'll see you Thursday.